Welcome to another episode of the 2023 NBA Draft Prospect Profiles here on the Field of 68. My name is Rob Doster. I have with me today Coach Matt McCall, and we are going to be breaking down one of my favorite players and favorite prospects in this draft class, a guy that came out of nowhere, a top 100-ish kind of a prospect coming out of Fort Lauderdale, who went to UCF, who averaged just under 16 points, 7 boards, and shot 39% from three on more than 5 threes per game while standing 6'9" and 210 pounds, and a terrific athlete. That is Taylor Hendricks from UCF. Do not call them Central Florida. Matt, what do you make of Taylor Hendricks and where he came from this year?
Do not call them Central Florida. You got to call them UCF because Central Florida used to be in my hometown. It was Central Florida Community College. So don't call them Central Florida. It's UCF. I look at him, he's 6'9", and he shot 40% from three, right? But he didn't just hang on the perimeter. 7 rebounds per game as a freshman with that frame, with that size. You want to talk about a 3-and-D type of guy. I think he fits that mold. There's one name that comes to mind for me when I just watch him. That's Dorian Finney-Smith, and I just say that because I coached him at Florida, but he has similar size, similar ability to knock it down from three, and similar ability to mix it up inside and rebound the basketball. Obviously, Dorian has had a great career in the NBA thus far, played so many years for the Dallas Mavericks. Now he's with the Brooklyn Nets. But this guy's upside is only in front of him, and his upside is through the roof. And like you alluded to, top 100-ish type of player, went to the school, went to the right fit, got, on the stage in the right way, right style of play to really flourish in the system. And, you're talking about a guy that some experts have him in the top 10 of the draft.
I think that I would seriously consider taking him in the top 10. I don't think that that's crazy at all. Before we talk a little bit about him as a player, just in general, how do guys with this level of talent slip through the cracks? Like, why was he not at a SEC program? Why was he not, for a guy with that length and athleticism, why was he not at Alabama playing for NATO? It's like, how does he end up at a program like UCF?
Well, he played at UCF with his brother. That was one of the factors, correct? Like his brother was there, and I think that was something that was important for the family, and I have tremendous respect for that. When you think about that wanted to play with him and be in that environment and that atmosphere. But I think the transfer portal probably has something to do with it. I think so many coaches are so focused and lasered in on taking transfers and not focused on who are the best players in our area, who are the best players in our state that can help us and help us next year. I think that has a factor. But, again, there's so many of these guys that you see that fall through the cracks, and they end up going to the right place at the right time for them and just completely flourish. And I think that's the biggest thing, and maybe the biggest message to high school players, anywhere is, don't worry about the school or the level. And UCF, obviously, going to an even bigger level next year. But it doesn't matter. It's the right fit. It's the right place. And being in the right system, your game can flourish. And I think that's a message to all high school players.
Yeah, he very much is the prototype for what NBA teams are looking for from their forwards, right? 6'9", crazy length, terrific athlete, really explosive, makes threes, and showcase throughout the if you watch the tape, man, like he would switch out on the point guards and would do a job, not just like staying.
Takes pride in it.
Yeah,
Takes pride in it. Yeah.
He would do a job against them. I think Jaren Jackson is like the archetype for the ideal for what you're looking for out of that role. I don't think that Taylor Hendricks is going to be Jaren Jackson, but I see some Jeremy Grant there. You mentioned Dorian Finney-Smith. I could see that a little bit. I think he's a little bit more of a. I think of him as a 4, where I think of Finney-Smith more as like a 3, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but in college, Dodo only played the 4. Didn't play much 3. So, but I can see again. I think it's you look when you look at these NBA franchises, there's going to be a superstar on every single team.
Mm-hmm.
And now the way the game has transitioned to, it's so much about floor spacing. So as we have our superstar and the ball is in our superstar's hands, the other guys around him, can they space the floor? And then on the other end of the floor, how are they impacting the game? Can they defend? Can they rebound? So offensively, can they make a corner three? We see it all the time. Threes are in the corner. Guys are getting the ball swung to them even the playoffs right now. My man Al Horford, when the ball hits his hands and the Celtics are making corner threes, they're winning games. When they're missing corner threes, they're struggling. I mean, it's the way the game has evolved, to say. So these players that are getting drafted, you're looking at them: size, length, athleticism. Can they defend? Can they switch? And can they make threes? That's how the game has evolved, because our superstars are going to get so much attention. There's more emphasis on ball movement and player movement. So when the ball gets swung to me and it hits my hands and I'm in the corner, can I make the shot? And he's the guy that can.
Yeah, the shooting is 100% a major part of it. He also had quite a few opportunities where, he's pump faking 3-point lines, taking one dribble and dunking on somebody's head. Like he's the kind of dude. He's got like that one step burst, right? There's guys that need a runway to be able to get to their max jump. Like he needs a step, and that's about it. And he's jumping there. He's getting two hands at the top of the square. The thing that I love about him when watching the tape is not just is he a good and willing one-on-one defender, but he's a really smart rotational defender too. Like he's coming over from the weak side and pinning shots against the backboard. He's getting these chase down blocks. I feel like he is in the right position and has like the instinctual side that you need, which is really impressive he's 19 years old. And like, he's not coming from one of these big powerhouse prep schools, right? Like he has a feel for the game that I think is beyond his years.
Yeah, don't sleep on Florida basketball now. And don't sleep on Florida high school basketball now.
I never would. I wouldn't dare, McCall. I wouldn't dare.
No, but I think it's important for the right team to take him, because I do think, even as talented as he is, I think the development piece is going to be big, surrounding him with the right players and the right pieces to help, because he's so young. And like you said, he's not coming from a Power 5, although there'll be a Power 5 next year. He's not coming from that environment. He's not coming from, one of the most heralded schools in the country as a high school player. So I think the people that he's going to be surrounded with whatever organization takes him, is extremely important on his ceiling, right? Like, I mean, what's his ceiling? Because he's so young. I mean, we're talking about a guy that could be, with his talent ability, he could end up being an all-star if he's put in the right environment and the investment for him is there. And I know there's millions of dollars that is put into it, but we've seen it all the time. Talented player gets drafted, probably not the right fit, not people around him, not the right veterans around him. We don't really hear about them again. We don't hear about them reaching their potential. Other guys that go to the right place, they're around the right people, they end up being NBA All-Stars, especially guys that are so young that don't have that experience.
Our partner for today's episode is Athletic Greens. I started taking AG1 during the college basketball season, and I loved the impact that it had on my energy levels. I'm a big coffee in the morning guy, but by the time that the afternoon would hit, I needed another boost. AG1 helped me tremendously, especially on those days when I didn't want to get up off the couch and go hit the gym. Their tagline is AG1 is comprehensive health and the power of habit in one. And man, that could not be more true. It's nearly impossible to eat and drink in a healthy manner in the month of February and the month of March when you are in my business. And AG1 was exactly the supplement that I needed to improve my gut health and cover my nutritional basis for the day. I've continued that into April. I've continued that into May, and I'm going to continue that the rest of the summer. All I have to do is mix a scoop of AG1 with some water, or maybe add it into a smoothie, and I'm ready to go. Do it after lunch, and you'll be ready to go for the rest of the day. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/field68. That's field 68 FIELD, the number 6, the number 8, and you can get yours now. So check it out and help support this show. Thanks. Yeah, so let's talk about that all-star upside, because I think when you look at someone like a Trey Murphy or someone like an OG Anunoby, I mentioned Jeremy Grant, you mentioned Dorian Finney, like the prototype is there for them for Taylor to have a long, very profitable NBA career.
No question.
Do you think there is the potential for like a Paul George kind of career arc? Do you think he has enough potential as maybe an individual shot creator, a one-on-one bucket getter kind of a guy? Can he develop into a player like that, do you think?
I mean, I don't think there's any question about it, just because of how young he is and what he did this past season. I think the development has to be there. I think, like I said, the right people have to be around him. But I think his ceiling is through the roof. I don't think there's a cap on his ceiling. We're not talking about a guy that's, undersized, had a good college career, can make some shots. Yeah, we know he can defend. Yeah, he can add some value to an NBA franchise because he's a winner, because he was coached, because we know he can defend. No, we have 34 games and 35 minutes per game on a team that didn't make the NCAA tournament. But, man, this player caught our eye. And he caught our eye with what he did at such a young age. And there's a lot of intrigue there of what is his ceiling. And we don't know that yet. Could he end up being an all-star with his size, his length, and his ability to shoot the basketball from the perimeter? No question about it. I don't think we have enough information yet, but definitely the talent's there.
Yeah, the reason I like him so much is because I think that the floor is incredibly high. I don't really see, outside of injuries, I don't really see a path to him being a complete failure. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what, you're going to get a guy that is going to get a second contract in the league, I think, because he checks all of those boxes. He can guard 1 through 4. He can be a small ball 5 and be someone that can catch lobs at the rim. He can make threes. He spaces the floor as a vertical spacer with the lob threat. He spaces the floor with his ability to get in the corner, knock down a 3. I think he could be a pick and pop threat. Like, he fits so many things that you need to do as a role player in the NBA. The question is going to be, does he accept that role? Does he buy into it? He went to UCF to play with his brother. I think he's going to be okay buying into what a team needs him to do.
No question about it. And can he start as a role player and grow into something bigger? Or does he get drafted by a team that needs him to be one of their top 3 players right away? Like, that's a big difference. Mm-hmm. Can you get drafted by a franchise that, hey, I'm going to be a role player, and all of a sudden 20, 30, 40 games into the season, my role is going to increase? I think that's a big key for him.
Mm-hmm. I agree. The upside is there. The floor is there. And I don't know how many players in this draft you can say both of those things about, especially the ones coming from the collegiate ranks. I don't know if there are 5 guys that I would take over him in this draft coming out of college. Obviously, like Scoot and Wemby and the Thompson twins are going to be up there. I don't know if there's 5 guys coming out of college that I would take over him as a player. Listen, this has been the NBA Draft Prospect Profile for UCF's Taylor Hendricks. Matt, I feel comfortable saying that both of us think he's one of the most interesting and fun prospects in this year's draft. I loved watching tape on him. Love talking with you about him. If you do enjoy these prospect profiles, check the links in the description. We are going to be rolling out more than 50 of these over the course of May and June. Thank you for watching the Field of 68. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, hit that like button, share this link with your friends, or check out the description for some other places that you can consume Field of 68 content.